Hello and welcome back, everybody, to another energy update from quantumplanet.world. My name is David.
I'm Bella Alvaran. Hi.
We wanted to put this video out today for a number of reasons, and we're going to try and keep it as succinct as possible. But there are a lot of big energy movements going on right now, and we've been having some very interesting and powerful conversations with many of our tribe members, and we wanted to share some of the energy of those with all of you, and also to give you a little bit more detail in addition to what we already shared on the Quantum Compass episode a few days ago.
Right. And also to address a few questions from many people that have sent us emails or have come to the website, and they ask us, where do I start the journey with you guys? And so we're going to give you some tips.
And towards the end of this video, we're also going to be sharing with you our Solstice Sales Special. We have an amazing offer on all of these courses as a way of encouraging all of you who follow us to step into the creation space that this particular wave spell is offering all of us, and that many of our tribe have also completed, and like us, now understanding our reality in a different way. But where are we going to start with this update, Bella?
So let's start with the energy update. We are in the wave spell of the red magnetic earth, which means that we are super connected during these 13 days. Today is day 2 of the wave spell, and it's inviting us to connect to the elementals, to understand the solstice is coming, to connect to these medicine wheel that we live as part of the earth.
So today is what some people consider to be a portal day. It's a 12-12 day, and the energy of the goddess is very strong. And as we go into this womb space here in the Northern Hemisphere at this time of year, in the run up to the solstice and then the return of the light, and in between we have these powerful, we can call 3 days of darkness, but this is a really, really positive thing, and we're going to be sharing why in a minute. But if our attention is getting distracted by the many distractions that can occur at this time of year around the Christmas time, chances are we might be missing out on this amazing opportunity to really get into our creator space here in the new Earth cuboid of the universe. And that is really a big focus that we want to share today, is that we are the creators. In fact, we've always been the creators. But now that the old paradigm has really collapsed, we find ourselves in this weird transition space where we're not really used to being so in charge of the energies and how to work with them, because we've been used to somebody else doing it for us, right, Bella?
Yes. So also today we're experiencing not only the second day of the wave spell, which is the polarity days, where we can feel some tensions, masculine, feminine. We're also experiencing the opposition of Venus in Aquarius and Mars in Leo. So all of this tension is reinforcing that we need to look at the relationships. And the 12-12, even though it's not a Mayan day, but it's more of a Gregorian and numerical or numerology day, it encourages that positive change in relationships. So what do you want to address today that is connected to your relationships, whether with a partner or family or work or whatever, that needs your focus so that you can transcend the polarity that we're experiencing?
Right, so Venus and Mars really, of course, represent masculine and feminine energies quite well, but also this is day 2 of this really important wave spell, and this is normally a day of polarization, but also of catalyzation, and it can be easy to find challenges overwhelming, or something that creates division or triggering situations. But once we understand that what we're working with here is fuel for our dreams and visions to manifest into reality, then we're working with the energy of how to bring heaven down to earth. So a lot of this is about how we overcome the challenges, how we overcome possibly divisive situations. And by shifting our perspective, not getting somebody else to shift theirs, but by shifting ours, we can actually alchemize the energy of the division or the challenge into something that then gives us this incredible spark of energy that then can really be put towards whatever it is that we want to manifest.
I think it's an invitation for us to align with our spiritual path and our lives. Are they connected? Are our connections with the people in our lives, are they aligned? What do we need to do to transcend these polarities or polarization?
All of which is another way of saying that as we rise beyond the dualistic world that we live in, and we become more 5D, more non-dual, we start to see things from what we call the eagle's perch perspective. And from that perspective, everything is always good. Everything is always working in a positive direction. And from that lofty eagle's perch perspective, we can look at our own actions, our own intentions, our own habitual behavioral patterns, even our belief systems, and start to make adjustments so that we are the catalyzers of our own change, not looking outside for a savior, someone to come and change the world for us or to change our lives for us, but actually stepping into the role of being a cosmic human creator, which is something we've always been, but in the time span that we've been living in this incarnational realm, perhaps we found it more difficult because the world around us hasn't been so ready to receive those inputs. However, now with those obstructing forces pretty much dealt with, we can all start to look forward to the new Earth timeline. However, in order to do so, we have to get, or not get rid of, that's not the right way of saying, but we have to transform the chaos in our own minds, the chaos in our own lives, and most of all, maybe some of the contamination and chaos inside of us on the internal planes, but also within our physical and energetic systems.
So in this wave spell of the red magnetic earth, the earth is telling us, I'm the mother, I'm the mothership, and we're all in it. And we need to learn to navigate our life connected to her, listening to the synchronicities, paying attention to the cycles that are happening, to the changes with the sun, to the changes in the seasons, because it is our navigation, our compass. So we want to pay attention to the elementals, which is one of the things we're doing at the moment with Heaven on Earth.
Right, so we have been working with the inner elementals during the Heaven on Earth course, which we've talked about already. And I can say for sure that working with the energy of the air elemental and watching the quantum compass, I definitely had quite a bit of air going on. So trying to work with the energy in a more grounded way as we now move into the element of fire. But as we work with the element of fire, what we're really doing is giving that breath of life from our inner air elementals to the spark of creation. And in order to get that to really fan the flames, we can say, we want to make sure that we have a safe container space in which to do that. And Mother Earth provides for us, particularly in the Northern Hemisphere at this time, this beautiful womb space, which starts with the solstice, lasts for roughly 3 days, and then we have the return of the light on Christmas Day, December the 25th. And interestingly, this wave spell of the red magnetic earth finishes the day of transcendence on the 23rd of December, which is exactly in the middle of this womb space time.
So we're excited. We are expecting to see some signs from the earth telling us that we are in the birthing process of new earth. And everything that we've been doing for the last 3 years has been an initiation process of how do we get our energy ready for this moment and what do we do next once we step into new earth.
Right, and if you have watched the Quantum Compass, you'll be aware that we talked a lot about the full moon that is coming up in just a few days' time on the 15th/16th of December, which in the Western tropical system is in Gemini, which is also an air sign. So we have been working very strongly, along with many of our tribe members, with the energy, which is really a lot about wisdom, about the higher mind, about intellect, but also it's the kind of the ideas space. But if we want those ideas to come to fruition, we need to work with our own inner medicine wheel by working through the elements, working with the air, the mind, the fire, the spark. The water energy is really about the harvesting and accumulation. And then we go into the earth and we bank it, and then we go around the cycle again. And we can use this methodology for all kinds of things. We use it in the garden, in the seasonal way of growing plants, but we can also use exactly the same methodology to give life and creation and manifestation, and then grounding into the 3D realm, which is another way of saying bringing heaven down to earth. How do we bring our higher mind ideas and bring them into a 3D reality so that we can be the creators of the new earth world that we all want? However, if our mind is filled with chaotic thoughts, if we're watching a lot of the goggle box and the crazy narratives that are being put in front of us right now, chances are we're getting either a bit distracted, or maybe we're getting into a slight fear place or having some anxiety issues, or maybe with all of these really, really strong energies that are abounding at this time, maybe we're not sleeping so well, or maybe we've got a few aches and pains. That's all fine and nothing to worry about too much. But the most important thing is that we stay calm at the heart level, because when we're calm in our heart and full of love and joy, what we're really doing is connecting to the beautiful goddess energy, which is another way of saying that we're connecting to our unconditional love, 5-dimensional selves, which is really where we create from. Of course, we also create from the higher dimensionals of the 6th, 7th, and 8th as well. But the 5th dimensional realm is really the place that we're looking to reside more of the time consciously. And when we're able to do that, our 3D bodies, our 4D emotional astral bodies are in a much more balanced, harmonious space, which allows a much easier and more consistent connection through our crown chakra and our soul star chakra up into the higher realms, which is where we connect with our higher selves. which is another way of saying our intuition. And when we're really in the flow with our intuition, everything starts to happen in a magical and synchronistic way, right, Bella?
Right. And many of the people that are part of our tribe have already given us amazing testimonials on how they have learned to view time in a different way by using the Mayan time and magic, by following the 13 steps of the navigation guide to put together their dreams and to manifest and interact with the different or with their multidimensional selves. So there have been many advances, and now the conversations that we get to have with the tribe are absolutely amazing and super 5D.
Right, so we're just going to take a few minutes now to just talk through some of the various different journeys, courses or programs we could say that we've been offering here on QPW for a while. And every single thing that we've put out really over the last 18 months has been designed specifically for the moment that we're now in, which is to understand that we are creators. And this loops back to what we said in the Quantum Compass about this full moon that is actually sat on these really, really powerful stars, the belt of Orion, Mintaka, Alnitak, and Alnilam. And when we understand the cosmological importance of these stars, we understand that we are being guided to go back to school to start learning again, which may sound a little ominous, except that it's not really, because we're being offered the keys to heaven, they offered the keys to creation. And these three stars teach us about how to be quantum sociologists, quantum economists, quantum teachers, all of which is another way of saying that we're being guided to step into our future cosmic human selves. And this is the moment where this is being birthed consciously and with awareness. But again, if we're being distracted or if we haven't done enough of our own shadow work or density release work, we could well be finding ourselves getting super distracted, pulled left and right into the division that polarity can give us. And perhaps that's overwhelming us. And then we find ourselves in lower frequency vibrational spaces. So how do we keep ourselves above that and also work with the other time wave technology that is available? So we're just going to take a few minutes now to talk through three of the major programs that we offer here and to give some more insights about how to work with these in a coherent way, which we've also worked with in many of our tribe too, which allow us then to step into the space of activating ourselves, not somebody else, but us activating our inner DNA, which is another way of saying that we're acting our cosmological soul self. All of which is mapped out in the stars and that we come in with through our natal birth chart. So perhaps, Bella, I'll just bring up the screen a second.
Yes, let me also add here that what we've been guided to do, also now that the full moon is activating these three stars of Orion's belt, is to bring all of the knowledge and teachings of the higher nodes of the serpent stellar nation, of their beings. So everything that we've been guided to do is guided by the goddess, guided by the energy of creation. And so there are 13 stellar nations, 13 chapters to the navigation guide, 13 galactic tones, and we're integrating the 13th sign by now talking about Ophiuchus or the serpent's constellation. So it's about integrating the higher octave of what we've been doing by switching from the system that is more 1260 to the 1320 as well.
Right, exactly. And so here we've just pulled up one of the most important journeys that we've undertaken over the last couple of years, and many of our tribe too, which is really looking at our cosmological selves through the fixed star astrology that our own natal birth chart offers us. And this is called the Stellar Nations Pathway. And it allows us to really map out the 260 to 300 different fixed stars that this program offers. Now, you don't need to learn all of those stars. And in fact, in many ways, this system is much easier to understand than day-to-day astrology because it does work with your natal birth chart. And what it does is it allows you to look at various fixed stars that are going to be roughly within a 2 to 4 degree orb. It's normally about 2.5 to where those planets and your ascendant, descendant, midheaven, and IC might be. And what this does is it gives you the blueprint of your soul's journey through the cosmos. Once you understand that you're a multidimensional being having many, many simultaneous experiences throughout the universe, you also start to realize that you're a much bigger being than you've ever been allowed to understand that you are. And once you start working with a powerful plant like dandelion, who is a DNA specialist, you can actually start to go into the inwards plane, into your inner quantum technology, and through what these 13 different stellar nations offer us, start to understand that this is reflected in our DNA. So this particular pathway uses all kinds of different archetypal beings, such as unicorns and dragons and serpents and dolphins and whales and many other magical beings. But really, what these are showing us is the DNA that's connected to our Pleiadian selves, our Sirian selves, Nibiruan, Arcturian, Andromedan selves, because we came into this experiment with a whole bunch of different DNA as part of an experiment for the universe to see what happens when we put all of these different DNAs together. Well, they can end up arguing with each other maybe a little bit and creating inner turmoil. But once we understand what these codes actually represent within us and how they've already played out in our lives, probably are still playing out, and how they can then continue to play out in an upper way, we're given this roadmap on the inner planes to understand how we got to be where we are today and what our purpose is.
Right. So it is also a journey in the realm of the galactic myths. So there are lots of mythological beings here. We talk about integrating the codes of the unicorns, of the whales, of the Pegasus beings, winged lions, dragon beings, 13 different ones that we all have codes for. And so we go beyond this realm of the mythology and how does it work in our day-to-day life? How have we experienced this already? How do we integrate it moving forward as part of our cosmic human selves?
Right, and actually quite a few of you have already messaged us since we put out the quantum compass saying, hey, I have many of those stars prominently in my chart. I have the 3 stars of the belt of Orion, or I have the peacekeeping star of the Dragon Nation of Fact, or some of the other stars that we focused on. And what does that mean? Well, it's like saying that this is something that you inherently have within you. And once you understand that and activate it, you can start to work with the energies of those codes at the higher dimensional levels, which, when you really understand that, opens the door to the collective unity consciousness. Some of us have been doing this now for a while, and we understand that there is an incredible conversation going on in the higher realms between all of us. And that conversation is about how do we move through this transition phase into the new earth world. And when we understand that the things that perhaps were stopping us, they're what we call the astral mafia bosses or the old paradigm or the matrix, those things are no longer there to intimidate us or scare us or any of the other things that have gone on. We now have the possibility, perhaps for the first time in this incarnation, to step up responsibly and start taking action for ourselves. And by doing that, we can do the most rebellious, revolutionary act that we can ever do, which is to actually transform ourselves. And in doing so, by default, at the quantum entanglement level, the world around us will start to change too.
Right. And through this process, do you want to go up a little bit so people can see that? So with this process of the Stellar Nations pathway, which you can find here in a platform, you can reconnect with your mission codes and with your Christ consciousness, which is what we want to activate for this new earth that we are working with. So all of these are 7D galactic Akashic records that we get to access. And we get to do it ourselves as we go into this journey with the 13 chapters that we can present here. It's 15 we have on the...
It's 15, but there's 13 nations. We also included a couple of extra chapters there to give some further material.
Right. So all of this information, it's called the Antares Code, and it was channeled and written by Aniko and Bea from Hungary, two ladies that wrote these beautiful books, and we managed to work with Leslie Shankman to put together this amazing path that you can do here with us. And because we're in the process of leading towards Christmas and solstice, we are giving a super special 52% discount up to the full moon.
Right. So yes, we'll be sharing the codes in the show notes below. And if you're not sure about the show notes below, all you have to do is click this see more underneath this video. And that really leads us to the next part of this, which is understanding that we are now moving into a different time wave. We're no longer really operating in the 1260 Gregorian calendar, which is an imposed system. We can say deliberately, consciously, maybe unhelpfully, but it's all part of the design of Creator, all of which we agreed to do. So it served its purpose. But now what we're doing is stepping into a different kind of creational tool, right, Bella?
Yeah, so before we go to that part, so just to wrap up, if you've been interested in what is Stellar Nations, is this for me or not, just to know that this is going to help you recognize your primordial stellar roots. Where do you have more of your codes, and how can you integrate them in your body, in your soul, in your spirit, understand them, and what are the higher motives objectives of your existence? What is it that you came to do with that? What is the process of evolution that we're going through? So it's a very powerful access to these galactic Akashic records.
Right, and maybe many of you, like me, for a long time think, oh, well, it sounds great, but how do we access the Akashic records? It sounds like something over there that only very gifted, special people can access. Well, that's simply not true. We all carry our own inner Akashic records files, and all we really have to do is have a very clear intention that you want to access those files on yourself. And once you access those files on yourself, you start to understand more about yourself, and thus you start to understand more about the universe and also the illusory reality that we've been living in. And if there's one thing we want to share is that as our reality changes, many people are scared by this because they're so attached to the old system, but that no longer serves us. The belief systems that we have from that world no longer serve us. And so what can be more exciting than learning more about ourselves? So where do you want to go next?
We can go to the Mayan time and magic. Many people also ask questions about, is this for me? What is it that I get to learn from this? And what I like to say that the magic time and magic course is a profound and empowering way of reconnecting, of creating a relationship with this ancient way or harmonic energy of time, which is the real universal time. And how do we reconnect to that 1320 frequency?
Right, there are kind of two different aspects to this from my own personal experience. I'm just going to take a couple of moments here just to share how this is activated for me after meeting Bella and her teaching this to me personally. And then we've been teaching it to our tribe over the last 18 months to 2 years or so. The first aspect is understanding that we carry an essence, a universal essence. And once we understand what that universal essence is, we can start to work with it. It's because it's partly part of the codes that we came here to share. This gives us a much more clear understanding of our purpose here. And I think many of us, probably if we've been paying attention throughout our lives, want to know who we are and why we're here. And what we're trying to show here with the different programs that we're offering is how we've come to understand this about ourselves by adopting these really time-honored traditions that have been handed down to us by many different off-planet beings, including the ancient High Mayans.
Yeah, so here is how we learn how to work with a 13-month process, 13 moons, 13-day wave spell, 13 galactic tones of creation, which are a fractal of the galactic time and nature's creative process. So we actually synchronize again harmonically with the universe and with the earth, and we get to experience time and life as an unfolding spiral of time.
Right, and one of the things that I learned in this process is that my sacred number is number 13, so that is directly related to the goddess, and also my glyph being the cosmic skywalker is about bringing heaven down to earth, and part of the skywalker's remit is to understand how we can transcend the physical body and crisscross through time and space, working with quantum entanglement to access other parts of ourselves, which is where the stellar nations comes in. And once we understand how to do that on the internal level, we start to understand many things, not least of all how to time travel and how to split our attention, which is something that is very much in the Buddhist tradition, particularly of Tibet, when we learn about our siddhi abilities and how to bilocate. All of these abilities are contained within all of us, but unless we're giving them direct action and direct attention, chances are we're probably getting distracted by things like Christmas and all of the things that happen at this time of year. So this is a way of bringing it back to ourselves. And not only do we have the possibility to do this, but we're given these wonderful containers every 13 days in which to actually access, activate, and then manifest something.
Where every single day has an energy that you can connect to, because the universe, it's an intelligent and interactive being, the cosmos. We can connect with the cosmos and understand the natural flow of creation. And by us realigning with it, we get to be co-creators and manifestors of our own reality.
Right, so it's very much as it says here, it's a guide to living, being, and co-creating in alignment with the cosmos and our galactic self. And once we start to understand all of this, we realize there is no separation between us as physical human beings and literally every part of the environment around us. And wonderful plants like dandelion, again, teach us how to be very present in that moment. So then we start to understand that that is really the only thing that exists. And from that place, our sense of time dissolves, but it also kind of expands in its own weird way. And we find that we have more time with more focus and clarity to do the things that are important to us, which hopefully, if we're in tune with our heart, are the things that we love to do.
And we get to amplify the magic in our lives, the synchronicities in our lives. We start living life from a place of passion and excitement, because every day brings something exciting and an energy that you can work with.
Right, and also an energy of play. And that's what I love about this system is it's you have these 13 days with one particular energy, which is the overarching energy of that wave spell. And like we've been talking about today, we're in the one with the red earth. And each one of those offers a different possibility to play with the creation energies of the universe. And once we understand that, then we have this beautiful 13-step process that unfolds through each of these 13 days.
Yeah, and so by doing that day by day, it's like an exploration of our multidimensional reality beyond the material world, beyond the 3D. It's accessing each one of the dimensions, which we see in the navigation guide, which we'll talk about in a minute. But with the Mayan time and magic, you get to access more of your consciousness through those inner experiences and help you co-dream and co-create what you want.
So Bella did an amazing job here, putting this whole program together. And as you can see from just scrolling through there, it includes many different things, not least of all looking at different types of calendars and time and how we've been given these concepts of time that perhaps now need to be taken apart and reinstalled in a different way, which is where our ancient Mayan ancestors, really, who are also future aspects probably of ourselves, came to give us this many cycles ago, so that when we got to this moment, we would know what to do when the old system collapsed. Because there is a danger sometimes when something collapses that it creates a vacuum. And that's not what we need right now. We need to switch from one system to another. And it requires some of us who are at the vanguard of the process that is happening for everybody on the planet right now to ensure that we don't fall into the realms of chaos, but rather we step consciously into a new cuboid of the universe.
Right. So just to wrap up the Mayan time and magic, these galactic codes help us expand our perceptions and capacities as multidimensional beings, and they lift us from linear time to realign our energy with source energy, which is a spiral. If you think of the galaxy, and Hunabku is at the center of the galaxy, it's all spiral, and we need to follow that pattern, which is sacred geometry as well. So as we do that, we receive new visions of the cosmos and how and what we want to do, moving into the new earth that we are co-creating. And as we raise our frequency into resonance with harmony of the living universe, we reconnect with the earth, with the biosphere, and we work together as one.
As co-creators. That's a beautiful thing. We can be creators of our own world, but if our own internal world and the world around us, but if we want to connect with our fellow human brothers and sisters and the nature spirits and the tree spirits and the elementals, then we understand that we're all vibrating in the web of life as co-creators. And that's when things get really exciting.
Good. So the good news is this course is also a 52% discount up to the full moon, and after that is going to be 26% up to the solstice.
That's
right?
correct. Yeah. So we really, because of the energy of this moment, and because we know that there are a lot of financial pressures, we're trying to make this as easy as possible for many of you to jump into the same creative space that many in our tribe are already in. Because the more of us that are doing this, the quicker and more easily our world is going to change into the harmonious, balanced, beautiful space that I know that we all carry deep within our own coding.
The thing I forgot to mention about here is that you get to find out what is your glyph, what is your energy, what is your archetype, what is your galactic archetype, what is your oracle, and how do you work with your own medicine wheel in the Mayan cosmology.
Right, and of course, Bella also offers personal activation one-to-one sessions for those of you that really want to go deeper and understand more quickly about how this works for you at the personal level. But all of this leads to something that is really powerful that we completed earlier this year, which is our Galactic Atlas to New Earth, or a navigation guide to quantum consciousness. And we've called this the 13 steps of creation, or we can even say it's the ascension ladder. Now, sometimes these words trigger people, and we're using this just as a catch-all phrase because we know many of you will have heard of this, but ascension is not something that happens to us by accident. It's really an evolutionary series of steps that allow us finally to reach into the higher dimensional coding within us, which again is where it loops back to understanding the stellar nations, which also includes our angelic selves, our dragon selves, our primordial selves. So yeah.
And so I asked Zach, the Ascended Master, how to describe this to the people once I put it together. And he said, well, you can explain it as a shortcut through each one of the dimensions, which are all compressed, but you get to shortcut to get to the evolutionary point of transcendence.
Right. And of course, those of you who have followed Zach through our friend John Hour and probably seen many videos with other people too, he always says that he's from the 26th dimension, which I always thought was interesting. It's like, well, how does the 26th dimension relate to the other dimensions we're in? Well, if you think about it, 13 times 2 is 26. So I think that Zach is giving us a big
The
point
higher
here.
octave.
It's the higher octave. And this is also another aspect of what happens when we complete these 13 steps.
So again, we wanted to put this there because it's going deeper into the wave spell, going deeper into each one of the galactic tones. And each one of us has one of those 13 energies, which is really important to integrate and understand. If you're a number one, a magnetic tone, or if you're a cosmic tone or a self-existing tone, what is your role in the tapestry of what we are creating, and how do we collaborate with each other?
Right. So as we've shared before, each of the different wave spells have 13 days, and each one of them has a different tone. And that is really what this galactic atlas is all about. It's going deep into the energies of each of the 13 days, each of the 13 tones. So one of the biggest chapters we focused on is actually the energy of today, which is day 2.
Yes, because it's the most important. The most important thing for us as humanity is to understand that we need to transcend the polarities, the division, the separation, the illusion of separation. We're all interconnected. We're all connected to the earth. We're all connected to the cosmos, but we've been told by society and all of the different indoctrinations we've gone through that we're separate races, that we're separate countries, that we're separate everything. So this is how to transcend, and we give a bunch of keys and tools on how to work on conflicts, on how to transcend these obstacles.
And each one of these chapters is a quantum encrypted transmission from myself and Bella, but primarily from Bella, who's channeling this information from her Mayan lineage and ancestry, which is in conjunction with the Mayan time and magic course. So this is really, these two aspects of the Mayan technology are laid out very carefully and clearly during these two courses. And as we've said before, this is not something that needs to be rushed. You are going on now a deep inner journey to understand yourself fully. And the most important thing that I can share from this journey that I've taken over the last 18 months is that once you engage with it with your heart and you give yourself to really to your higher self to educate the 3D aspect of yourself, you will go on a magical journey, not just to go an endless healing and clearing of shadow, because that can be a little tough after a while. But every time we do a big piece of catalyzation work, working with our own inner shadow or density, there is always a spiritual reward afterwards. I'm sure many of you will have experienced this. And that's where having the understanding of our own DNA, it gets activated at a higher level. So we start to live the higher notes of our teacher or healer self from the serpent nation, or our primordial elemental creator self from the dragon nation, or our Christ consciousness from the bear nation, or maybe our dolphin healing energy. So all of these different codes have these upper notes that get activated when we clear the lower shadow notes that they've also given us, which is also how we've come to understand duality. So there is nothing bad here. In fact, when we understand that the catalyzing energy of a day 2 is what gives us the fuel for the creation, we actually come to a place of gratitude and thanks for these so-called challenges.
I also want to say thank you to all of the people that are completing this navigation guide. The testimonials are amazing. People do reach that point of quantum consciousness, and it is what we are planning to do. We're planning to put it out there for more people to be able to access this, especially at this crucial moment that we're at.
Right, and so just before we wrap up this call for today, I also just want to bring up this screen, Bella, because we will be having a dedicated call tomorrow on the 13th of December, carefully chosen again. We always work a lot with numbers, if any of you out there have been paying attention. And we will be having a special call to this group, the Navigation Guide to Quantum Consciousness. This is actually one of our free-to-join groups, and we have many people in this group already. Who have done a lot of the course. Maybe some have completed, quite a few are still working through the processes, but maybe you're intrigued by what we've just shared and want to know how to jump on board to this process. So even if you're new to all of this, you can join the call tomorrow where we'll be talking about many of the things that we've just kind of mentioned briefly, but in more detail. And hopefully that will help activate within you the desire to step into your quantum nature.
Yes. So if you're interested in this, it also has a 52% discount up to the full moon.
Right, so that's really it for today, everybody. Thank you for listening up until this point. Many of you have asked us over the last year or so, really, how to integrate all of these things. And the best way to do it is to jump in and do them. And those of our tribe that have, like us, really reporting like all kinds of magical things happening, different realizations, different understandings of previous versions of ourselves, but also meeting some aspect of what we might call our future selves. And when we understand that we are always able to connect to some part of us that is actually somewhere in the linear future, although that's something we're going to talk about tomorrow too, we understand that we have everything mapped out for us already because our higher self wants us to have the most amazing experience because that was part of Creator's design. And once we understand that, it gives us a security of knowing, well, my higher self must be laying this out for a reason, including the challenges, so that I learn something. Not only do I learn something, I get to expand afterwards. So once we get that level of trust in our intuition, our higher self, we start to understand that there really is nothing to worry about.
And something that is very clear is that working with 13 stellar nations, 13 tones, 13 moons, 13 signs in the sidereal astrology we've been looking at, it's all about integrating the goddess energy. So we get to experience what is it like to be in the same frequency as Mother Earth and nature and creation.
Right, and as we shared during the quantum compasses, the final thought, the sun is in the latter stages of a fucus at the moment and is illuminating this kind of serpentine energy, which really includes the energy of the master healer on the female side, but also the master teacher, which also includes sacred geometry, numerology, temple building, geomancy, all of these different things, which is another way of understanding that we're activating the tree of life within us, which is something we're going to be talking a lot more about in 2025. But that's really it for today. Thank you again for listening. Hopefully you found this interesting, and we'd love to see more of you activating all of these different codes and energies within yourself and stepping into a tribe where we already have many people like this who are now thinking about how we as a collective are going to co-create the future Earth that we want. So we look forward to seeing you all very soon. And yeah, that's it for today, really.
Yeah, so hopefully you feel the calling. And if you haven't stepped up before to do any of those things, we hope that this is the little hint that you were waiting for. We're trying to do this because we want to reach more people as we have been guided to.
Right, and it is Christmas time. It is a time for celebration, and we are really looking forward to a different type of celebration this Christmas, one where we fully understand that what is coming to us in the very, very near future is going to be something truly magical, truly something different to anything we've experienced up until this point in this incarnation. But we can't just kick back on the sofa, put on the Christmas movie, and get out the popcorn and the roast turkey and all of that stuff. That's lovely, and we're definitely saying do that as well, but also take the time to go inwards and use the incredible opportunity that we have been given at this time. This is really our Christmas gift that we are all able to receive. So that's it, really. In Lakesh, everybody, I am another you.
Happy full moon, happy solstice, and we'll see you in the next show.
Bye for now.
Bye.